Welcome, friends. This is the sourdough starter that we recently rescued after 6 months of utter neglect in the back of the refrigerator. We hadn't done anything to it in 6 months. It sat back there. And over the last 48 hours, I've brought it back to life. I've fed it a few times, and it is looking fantastic. Smells fantastic, too. So we are going to make pizza dough with it, sourdough pizza dough. And I really like sourdough pizza dough, and I'm kind of excited by this. And the recipe follows pretty much the same pattern as our other pizza dough recipe on the website. And I will link to that video and the video of rescuing this all below or in the corner of this video. So we're going to start out, we're going to take 500 grams of bread flour. I'm using bread flour because I've tried all of the different flours, and this particular Canadian bread flour works fantastic for me, really gives me what I'm looking for. In next is salt and 300 grams of water. So this is 60% hydration for this recipe. And I'm just going to roughly stir that in just to kind of get it started a little bit. Next, I'm going to put in some of this starter, and I want about 150 grams of it. Depending on how vibrant your starter is, you may need to use a little bit more or a little bit less. I'm thinking this one, 150 grams, is going to get me where I want to be, and I'm not overly strict on getting it exact. You know, if I kind of come close, I'm happy. That should be just about right. It is just about right. So, clean off my spoons. Okay, now I'm just going to put this onto the stand mixer. And I'm just going to mix this on low until a really ragged ball of dough forms. Now, as for this, the sourdough starter, I'm going to feed this again, a little bit more flour, a little bit more water, put it back on the counter, and I'm not going to let it go for another 6 months. I'm going to use it quite a bit this summer. So take a look for this. Okay, so it looks like we've got a ragged ball of dough. I'm just going to turn off the mixer, and I'm going to let it rest for 15 or 20 minutes. This allows the flour to really hydrate, and it makes the kneading process a lot easier. Okay, after that rest, you don't need to knead this dough for very long at all. And at this point, I just turn it out onto the countertop. Okay, I just put it out on the countertop. I don't put down any flour. At this point, it is a really sticky dough, and I just want to kind of move it around a little bit and kind of get a feel for whether I have kneaded it enough with the machine. And this is something that you're just going to learn over time, and I think this is pretty good. So, into a container that I can seal. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the fridge for a long, slow ferment, at least 2 days. 3 days is probably the sweet spot, 4 days on the outside. By the 5th day, this sourdough has gone too far, and it won't really be usable. So I'll see you back here in 3 or 4 days. Okay, so this has been in the fridge for 3 days now, and we've got a pretty good rise, and it's just about starting to fall. So it's time to pull it out, degas it, and portion it up. Okay, so at this point, I don't use any flour. I like to have the stickiness of the counter to work with me. And we're going to portion this into 3 or 4 pizzas. 4 if you want to do some smaller ones with different toppings, but 3 gives you usually a nice oven-sized pizza. And you can weigh it out if you want to. I find that just eyeballing it gets me close enough to where I need to be. And after a while, you'll kind of figure it out. So we've got it portioned out, move those to the side. Now we need to create a nice smooth ball. It's going to be a little bit sticky, and you want it to stick to the counter a little bit. So you just take it like this, roll it around, and you're going to get a ball with a nice smooth surface. Set that aside and move on to the next one. Same thing. Nice smooth top. Off to the side. Okay, now you're just going to leave them on the counter. You're going to cover them over and leave them for an hour and a half to 2 hours. They'll come back up to room temperature. They will rise a little bit, they'll prove a little bit, they'll puff up, and it'll be much easier to shape into a pizza if you allow that to happen. So, from this point forward, we're going to be doing Pizza of the Week. So every week we're going to come on back and shoot another pizza video. We're going to cook them in our wood-fired brick oven out in the backyard, and we're going to introduce you to a whole bunch of different pizza styles that you might enjoy. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. I think we are done. Looks good.